White supremacists are not your friend. I'm going to reflect on the ever-increasing amount of hate attacks that are happening on Muslims all over the world. Far-right extremism is becoming a huge problem. Before I begin, because this is a very sensitive topic, this video will not qualify for ads. Please consider supporting me. The details are below. Now, who am I? I'm an ex-Muslim. I was Muslim for 15 years and I left Islam. I don't think Islam is good for the world, nor do I think it's true. However, I support people's freedom of religion. I support the right to self-determinism. I support the right not to be discriminated for what they believe or who they are. I support the right to practice the religion under secularism without imposing it on others. Now, let's just look at some of the attacks that have been happening, and there's a long list of them. July 2011, Anders Behring Breivik is the perpetrator of the attacks in Norway, in Utøya and Oslo, that ended up killing 77 people and injuring over 300. That's in July 2011. In February 2015, in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Craig Higgs killed 3 Muslim students. In April 2015, in the US, a Tennessee man who made a failed bid for Congress as an independent with extreme right-wing beliefs admitted in court he was planning an attack on the Muslim community in New York. So he was planning to, along with others, burn down a mosque, school, and cafeteria and gun down anyone from the community who tried to stop him. In June 2016, 5 men wearing traditional prayer robes were seated in a car which was stopped at the corner when 2 white men came up to them and shouted anti-Muslim epithets and then shot them. In August 2016, Maulana Akonji, a 55-year-old imam, and his assistant, 64-year-old Tara Uddin, was shot and killed on the way home from the mosque. Police suspect it was a hate crime. Also in August, a Lebanese-American man was shot and killed on his porch by a neighbor who regularly called him a dirty Muslim and Arab, despite him being Christian. In January 2017, in the province of Quebec, 6 were killed in a mosque shooting. In June 2018 in France, 10 people from a far-right group, including a retired police officer, were arrested on suspicion of involvement in a terrorist plot. Several weapons were seized, including homemade bombs and explosives. Obviously, in March 2019, a man was accused of killing 51 in a Christchurch mosque, and we all know about that. Brenton Terret, right, which was New Zealand's worst mass shooting in modern history. August 2019, which just happened, Philip Manshaus is accused of, going into the mosque and attempting to another mass murder type killing. He was thankfully, either he had bad timing or for some reason when he came there was only 3 people in the mosque. Maybe he missed the moon sighting announcement that it was supposed to be tomorrow, the next day, and he came, there was only 3 people in the mosque. A 65-year-old retired Pakistani army officer heard the shots and was able to wrestle him down to the ground. This guy tried to put his fingers into the Pakistani man's eyes, Muhammad's eyes, but thankfully they were able to hold him down until the police came. So this is a situation where I think everyone got very lucky. It could have gone completely the other way. It could have been maybe hundreds of people dead, who knows, right? But luckily, this happened. But what do I have to say about all this? I mean, this is just insanity. These people are no better than Islamic terrorists, like people that are, like ISIS style. They want to impose their views on the world using terrorism and violence. These people are no better than these people than the others, and all of them, attack the innocent people in the middle, which is so terrible. On to a related but slightly different topic. Ali Dawa invited a bunch of ex-Muslims for a friendly conversation, and the Muslim Adnan Rashid was there, along with ex-Muslims Ali Malik, Faye Rahman, Jimmy Bangash. It was a great conversation. It was a friendly dinner that they had together, and this is actually huge because, even from their end, many Muslims don't want them talking to ex-Muslims. Many Muslims don't want them to acknowledge that we exist, that we're here to stay, that people are leaving Islam. So this was actually like a really amazing thing. we're talking to each other, like, we're having food, we're breaking bread together. This is great, right? Because this is the first step. The funny thing is, people that are angry about this. Now I have two funny examples. Dylan Ringwood said, "Great, you guys work it out and head on back to your homelands to live in peace and prosperity together." Kyle said, "I only want Ali Dawa and the Islamists to go back. The other guys can stay." Dylan said, "Nah, if they want my people to become a minority and think it is racist to want less immigrants for ethno-cultural reasons, then they should go back to their homelands." And then there's another hilarious comment by Adrienne McArdle that said, "Sellouts lost respect for some of them." Now, it's very funny because you lose respect because they had a conversation, like, what? And these, let's ship all the Muslims and ex-Muslims back to their own countries, which is so ridiculous. Many Muslims are born here. Many ex-Muslims are born here. Obviously, this is a homeland, right? White supremacists are living in a fantasy white skin world where they're uniting on skin color, which is so absurd, especially in the 21st century, where it's more and more common to have mixed marriages, mixed relationships, and as time goes by, I can bet we'll find less and less pure races. There's going to be a lot more mixed people, and it's just going to be just the way things are going. And that's just great. I mean, it's so ridiculous. People would think that the somehow purebred, whereas in reality, everybody's a mix. The problem is that hateful speech and demonization of Muslims is a basis for the radicalization of many populations. As an ex-Muslim, we need to stop this shit in its tracks. We need to call it out for the trash talk that it is. As our primary target is Islam, we talk about Islam all the time, we discuss Islam. We have to be careful that our words are not used to demonize Muslims. We can fight Islamic values without othering Muslims. We can disagree with Muslims without othering them. How do we do that? By defending their rights to freedom of religion and worship. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying that this is a straightforward challenge. It is a challenge. It's challenging to be able to distinguish between discriminating against the people and disagreeing with the people. After a few years of having online conversations with others, there's a simple test I made called the Bigot Test, which has some red flags I noticed when I talk to people who are spreading hate versus people who are genuinely criticizing Islam and not Muslims. This is not a definite list, but there are some clues in here. For example, people that say moderate Muslims are just as bad, this is a huge red flag. Because if moderate Muslims, first of all, what does that even mean, moderate Muslims? I don't even know what that means. But if it means like people that are not religious and you're saying they're just as bad as like ISIS, I mean, that's ridiculous, right? To say that there's no room for nuance, there's no differences between any Muslim, that is bigotry. People that say, I hate Islamic reformers, Islam can never be reformed, I think that's problematic. People that say ISIS is true Islam, that there's only one interpretation of Islam, which is the worst interpretation, I think that's problematic. People that say Muslims are all potential terrorists and rapists, that's a huge problem. People saying you're defending Muslims, are you a Muslim now? People would disagree with particular points that you make, for example, saying they think that Muhammad's a pedophile and you don't agree with them. People that come up with, some ridiculous arguments about Islam, and as soon as you disagree with them, you feel that they're not representing Islam properly, they say, oh, you're doing taqiyya. So that's a few things that I came up with. And it's not a definite list, but just some clues. Finally, as Aaron Ra said in his latest discussion, in his hangouts that he had on Surah 38, he will fight for people's freedom to worship. See what he has to say here.
And I do too, by the way. Yeah, I had a meeting with the president of the American Dawa Association. I had dinner with him and Sabur Ahmad together, and I told the president of this Dawa group, I said that he and I have a common enemy, and that whereas I would fight him on these theological terms, with great enthusiasm, I said, you can also look to me as an ally where we have issues of freedom of religion and things of that sort. So where we agree, I will stand with you. But on these disagreements, I'll be an avid opponent, an enthusiastic one.
This is where we need to stand. This needs to be our position. It's not easy to do this. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but we need to walk this fine line, and we can and we must do it. Thanks for watching. This is Abdullah Samia signing out. Also, once again, because the topic of this video is very sensitive, it's not going to qualify for ads, so please consider supporting me. This is an important message, and this is a balanced message that we need to get out, and I need your help. Thank you so much.